Hey everybody, happy Saturday. Hey, I just thought since our Sunshine group is making the black bean burgers today, and I needed something for a block party that we're going to later. We're having our annual block party today. It's a gorgeous day here in Chicago. And I was like, what can I make to bring to the block party? Because of course we're all social distancing and we're not sharing food or anything like that. So I thought, oh, since everybody else is making these burgers today, I'll just do like a quick demo, sort of a demo, and bring, not burgers, but I love the wraps, and we have the wraps as lunch on Sunday. So if you're making the burgers today, tomorrow you have your leftovers for wraps. And actually I prefer the wraps, and I happened to find these the other day. So I'm having trouble finding the Ezekiel sprouted corn tortillas. I guess our Whole Foods stopped carrying them all around this area, and I can't order them from the website either because they kind of, since they're sprouted and so fresh, they kind of direct you to your local store and say, call ahead. I called every store, nobody has them. So I am not eating those for now, but the person that I talked to at one of the stores said, but have you tried these? So I love that these are like the burrito size. These are the same brand, Ezekiel 4x9 flex tortillas. So I know the oil-free tortillas don't hold together so well, but for wraps, I think they just work because you just kind of put them in the microwave for a second, and then sometimes I just kind of wrap them up and let them sit in the fridge and they hold together pretty well, or sometimes we crisp them up after we wrap them in the oven for our pizza rolls. Yeah, those are really good. And then they're crispy, and the crispy wrap holds them together. But, you know, I remembered I had these, and then I knew I had everything to make these burgers, and that's the beauty of this food. I mean, it's so simple, and it's staple food that I already have. So for this recipe, it was a can of pinto beans and a can of black beans, drained and rinsed. I always have those. I always have onions, garlic, all the spices. Of course, I always have all the spices. We use chili powder, cumin, onion, coriander, garlic, and then oats for binder. I always have rolled oats. And then I knew that I had this brown rice. It's our quinoa pilaf. I always have like some grain in the fridge. So throw a cup of that in. I have everything. And I also, wait a minute, I'll be right back. I have these peppers that we just picked from the garden, these poblanos. So I thought, oh, I'll roast a few of these with the burgers. And these burgers, another one of our flavor bombs, are Smoky Chipotle Dressing. This dressing, just like all of our other dressings, is what really makes these burgers come alive, or wraps. The dressing is so good. I mean, by now you guys know how good our nacho crema and our jalapeno lime crema is. This Smoky Chipotle drizzled on these burgers, oh, and then in wraps, it's delicious. With these, I'm gonna roast these. Throw those in, I don't know, I'll just see what else I have. I'll put some lettuce in there. I like them really stuffed, so it's like a nice full wrap. So I'm just gonna make the burgers, and then I'm going to, break them up and put them in the wraps, drizzle the dressing on. So step one is I created my mise en place, which means everything in its place. This is what makes cooking so much easier. I mean, I was just listening to a podcast. I chopped an onion. I think it's 4 cloves of garlic. Put all my spices in here. So when you look at a recipe, sometimes it looks like a long list of things and you're kind of like, whoa, too much work, I'm not doing it. But, and Phil and I were talking about this recently because somebody in one of the groups he's in, he posted one of our recipes and somebody saw it and they said, you call that simple? That's like 7 ingredients. And, everybody has their own gauge on what's simple and what isn't. So this, if you look at the recipe for this burger, you will see a long list. Well, here's what most of that list is. Spices. Do you know how long it took me to measure out these spices? A minute. Because it's all like the same measurement. It's like a teaspoon. So you get them all ready, everything ready. That takes 10 minutes, let's just say. And then you do teaspoon, teaspoon, teaspoon. I mean, it took me a minute. And the hardest thing about these, I would say, is just the chopping. I mean, an onion, some garlic, and a red pepper. So yes, and then you have to form the burger. So, I mean, it is a process, but it's gonna take me an hour, not even. I mean, this already just took me like maybe 20 minutes to get set up and open the can, drain everything. And then to actually form the burgers. So, and then they just cook, and while they're cooking, I'll just whip up the sauce really quickly. I mean, I am willing to put in this effort because sure, actually, Frank is at the farmer's market and he just called me and he said, do you want me to pick up a wrap from our friend Daniel, that's like our Saturday treat. Daniel does cook the burgers in oil, and we always say low oil. We've given him our hot jardiniere from Dilly Dally Provisions that has no oil, so he always puts that on ours for us. And he's like, I know, low oil. So he cooks them. He just can't cook those burgers with no oil. They just will stick and make a mess, and we're not going to make him do that. So, or ask him to do that, I should say. So I said, you know what? I'm making our wraps today for the block party, and he was like, oh yay, okay. So I could put in a little bit of an effort here, and I get this delicious whole food, no oil, nothing processed deliciousness, and I'm using up my leftovers. I mean, I made quite a lot of this stuff, so I've got to do something with it, right? Anyway, so this is the first step. So now what we do for these burgers is we saute this, the pepper, the onion, and the garlic, so it's, it's nice and soft before they go into the burgers. Sometimes, I think in some of our burgers, we just throw it in raw. It just depends. But this one, it's really good when you saute the stuff up first, just these three things. And then this burger is more of like it has like Mexican, Southwestern type spices, like I said, like the cumin and the chili powder. And then when you put the smoky chipotle sauce on it, so that's the flavoring of this burger. Okay, so I am going to edit this video because I don't want you to sit and watch all these, everything cooking, but I'm just gonna throw these in here. See, I have a problem getting that stove lit. Gotta do that sometime. And getting this lit, apparently. Oh, jeez. I probably will not edit that out. Okay. So I always have a little bit of water because we don't want this to stick because we're not using oil. So always heat up your pan first for about a minute. And then I think the recipe says to cook the onions first for a little bit. I think it's fine to throw them all in at once. I mean, I think it's fine. To throw those in. I think I'm just gonna throw everything in. I can't see why it matters. Throw all the garlic in. And I noticed that in this recipe, I don't have smoked paprika in the spice blend. And I'm wondering why. I know it's in the dressing, but I had pulled it out to get ready, and then I looked at the recipe and it wasn't in there. And I just had a tiny bit left in this one jar. So I'm like, okay, I threw a teaspoon in. I think that will add something, but it's not in your recipe. If you want to try it. Okay, so looks beautiful, smells good already. I'm just going to cook this for a few minutes so it softens and starts to cook. And then what we do next is grab a big bowl. Oh, actually, no, I throw the beans in too, because you want the beans to cook down a little bit. So I'm going to throw, after those cook for a few minutes, I'm trying to remember the recipe, throw the beans in and the spices, mix all that together and let that cook for a little bit, a couple of minutes. Then we throw everything into here, and then we actually mash the beans with a potato masher, or you could use a fork or a wooden spoon. Okay, they're starting to stick a little bit, so I'm going to add a little splash here. So that gets nice and mashed, and you want to leave some of the beans whole. You want to, to be able to form the patties. You don't want the beans falling out, but I like some whole beans, mostly mashed, but a few whole. And then we add the oats and the brown rice, or my rice quinoa mix, to bind everything together. My oven is ready. I just heard it. Preheated the oven. So really, this goes really quickly. I'm gonna come back. So I'm gonna mash everything together, and then I'm gonna come back when I'm forming the burger. So you can watch that part too. Okay, I just decided to show you guys how this looks as it's cooking. It smells so good. So I added to the onions, garlic, and red pepper. As soon as they softened, I added the pinto beans and the black beans, and then that little bowl of spices that I had made. All the cumin, the coriander, the garlic granules, onion granules, some salt, sea salt, and I threw in a little, oh, did I say onion? I threw in a little smoked paprika, just a teaspoon. Smells so good. And so this is just softening the beans a little bit because we're gonna mash them. See, I actually really enjoy this part of cooking. I just like the sizzles and the smells. My house is quiet. Well, I do hear an airplane. I hear the oven. And I hear my dog barking around, but it's just, to me, it's just really nice and peaceful. Okay. Can you tell it's getting a little bit soft? Like I can almost mash with my, see, I can almost mash this already with my spatula. Yeah, that's how you tell everything's starting to mash nicely. This will easily mash with the potato peeler. Potato masher. Okay. Sticking a little bit. I'm not going to add any water though. You don't really have to add any water. If it's sticking too much, just turn the heat down a little bit. But I think this is ready. Okay, time to mash. Okay, so here we have our mixture, and I added the oats and the brown rice to it. And it looks perfect. I mean, it's just easy to form. It's not too wet, it's not too dry. It's just tested, true and true. Okay, so now we just want to make little patties. I like them on the smaller side. I mean, I'm using these for wraps. I mean, I'm gonna make more than we're gonna eat, so I will have burgers, but don't you notice that these whole grain buns are kind of small? So, see all the nice beans in there? You could see the peppers and the onions and the oats holding everything together. Actually, that quinoa makes it look pretty too. So I have my parchment paper lined baking sheet. So now I'm just gonna quickly make these little patties. Wash my hands really well. Phil and I are big on cleanliness. You were raised that way. Wash your hands. My dad used to have this joke. He'd always say, my nails came out really nice. Ugh. Meaning after he made the meatballs. It's just a joke. Okay, so I'm gonna make these. I can't remember how many this makes. It says it right there in the recipe. I'm guessing 10, 12. So, just gonna make these, pop them in the oven, and we're gonna have our burgers made. And while those are in the oven, I'm gonna leave my oven on and then roast these poblanos because I'm gonna slice those up and put these in our wraps. My oven's already on. Hey, I think I might roast a few more things. I have some jalapenos over there. Yeah, I think I will roast some peppers, different kinds of peppers. And then I'm gonna make the Smoky Chipotle Dressing. I'm gonna have that all ready in the fridge for later. I think the block party starts at 2. Oh my gosh, it's already 11. I have some errands to run, so I'm gonna have it all ready and waiting for us later, and then I'll just assemble the wraps later. And I will try to film that too. Okay, see you later. Okay, so mine actually made 10. So I made them a tiny bit on the smaller side, the way I like them, because I like them to fit on the buns if we're gonna have them on buns later. But I'm breaking them up for the wraps, but look at how beautiful they look. They're not even cooked yet. Okay, popping them in the oven. Okay, they're out of the oven and they look super gorgeous. Look at this. You don't have to put them on a cooling rack. I just did. Look at those beans and the peppers. Aren't they gorgeous? Oh, they're so beautiful. I just did because I am going to put these peppers on the same baking sheet with the parchment paper. So I just picked a few jalapenos. I never roasted jalapenos, but why not? These were growing in my garden. And then these are looking a little bit sad. These are from last week and we didn't use them. I think this one's from the garden, but these are definitely from the garden. I'm just gonna throw them in and see what happens, but these poblanos from our garden look amazing. So we're gonna roast all of those to put them in our wraps. And I just wanted to also say, like, this fell apart a little bit, but these are bean burgers, you know, and bean burgers do fall apart. And that's why, I mean, sort of. That's why I like to put these in wraps. This is delicious, but you know, putting it in a bun, I mean, they're pretty good. See, it's not like they're just falling apart. You could definitely put this in a bun. I haven't found them to be as like the nice texture of like seitan or even tofu. They're just a little mushy, but I mean, they do stay together as a burger, and you could definitely put that in a bun. I just like them in wraps because you just, you know, throw all this into the wrap and it doesn't matter, it doesn't have to stay together. And while those were cooking, I quickly whipped up the Smoky Chipotle Dressing. I mean, I just soaked the cashews for 20 minutes. I had all the spices out anyway. You throw pretty much all the same thing into your blender with a little bit of lime and a little bit of garlic. And this dressing, wait, let me get a spoon. On these burgers, I'm so excited for you guys to try them today. Just do it over here. I mean, it's smoky, spicy, not hot. That chipotle flavor is so good. It is a little spicy, so if you don't like spice, just use a little bit less. But we're only using a 1/4 teaspoon of chipotle flakes. Such a fantastic wrap. I'm gonna show you guys the wrap later. I just wanted to show you where I was at. Oh, and then I use these handy dandy juice bottles that we've been collecting for years. And I'm just gonna pour my dressing into this and put it right in the fridge. So now I'm all ready for the block party. And I'm gonna scrape that. I do not want to miss a drop of this fantastic, yummy, delicious smoky dressing. You guys are going to love these. So let us see your burgers and your wraps tomorrow. Let's see what you're making, because I really hope you're gonna try these. They're fantastic, delicious, and I will try to get a little video of assembling them if I can later. Okay, bye-bye. One more thing I forgot to add. You know, making your own veggie burgers, I don't know, it was always super intimidating to me. And when I started eating this way, I was like, now I have to make my own veggie burgers. You know why? Because I was used to throwing a burger on the grill. A burger is already made for the most part, or you take the meat and you form it and you throw it on. I mean, I don't know why I had this, I had this block about veggie burgers. I thought it was really challenging, and I don't know, I just, you know how you get sometimes. I just didn't want any part of it. I was like, well, I can buy them already made. And then when I tried them and I saw how simple it is, and I always have this stuff on hand, you know how you just don't want to make them any other way there. You don't want to eat them any other way. Just like our hummus. I personally can't buy the packaged stuff. I mean, I can, obviously I can. And my daughter sometimes, if we're at the grocery store together, she'll say, Mom, let's get some hummus. But in my head, I'm like, I could make that so quickly. I always have everything to make hummus, and it's so much better. I really, every time I try store-bought, I don't like it. And because I have freshly made delicious hummus, we have the recipe down, it's so good. It takes 2 minutes to whip it up. So that's just one thing that I don't ever buy packaged, plus not to mention the expense. And then this has turned into this for me. I mean, when I look at veggie burgers, unless they're, let me think, Engine 2 does have some that are oil-free. I just feel like their products are kind of disappearing. But any other veggie burger, for the most part, that you buy is gonna have a lot of oil in it, a lot of processed ingredients. So I prefer to make my own. As you saw, it's simple. You pretty much have everything for the most part, and delicious. So don't be intimidated by veggie burgers like I was.